Architectural Review Board. My name's Craig Zumbrun. I have the honor to chair the group. We'll begin with roll call. Mr. Kunkel.
Here.
Mr. Skian.
Present.
Mr. Buffington.
Here.
Mr. Schurmeyer is absent. Ms. McLean Gross is absent. Ms. Hitzel.
Here.
Mr. Gifford is absent. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting of January the 11th?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. It was
I
made
did.
by Steve, seconded by Dennis. I don't believe we have any unfinished business other than items that were tabled from the last meeting.
Here.
Is there someone here from 4345 West Market?
No, it's 4:26, you're on the minutes.
I'm on the, yeah, I was looking at things that were tabled.
Oh, that one that was tabled from before,
Right,
you're on the minutes, but that one was taken care of last time.
okay.
Yeah, so we're at 426 East Market.
All right, so the first case then, tonight, is, 426 East Market. Zachary McAllister is the applicant. Rocky Wolf is the owner. TC Backer's doing construction. Exterior repairs, soffit fascia, freeze, crown molding, so forth. Go ahead.
I resubmitted the HARB application with what we previously discussed the week before, using all readily available PVC, white PVC products. Be some fabrication of gluing the parts together, but I also have salvaged a lot of the originals to recreate to their exact dimensions, and I was able to draft them up on CAD, and I believe you have the prints.
Right, good.
This, just to remind everybody, is to eliminate the wrapping that was originally proposed.
Yep.
Right, and I think all of the original material had been already removed.
Correct.
Right, but this essentially reproduces what was removed, correct?
Exact same look, yes.
Exact same look, great. I think you did exactly what we asked you to do. Any questions? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'd move that we accept it as resubmitted.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstaining or saying nay? The motion's unanimous. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Just need a moment. Pen's drying up. Give me another pen. Anyone at all. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your patience. The next application's 466, 468 East Market Street.
Hello.
Hi.
So we had lightning hit the back of our building and it burnt the fire escape chases off that I installed like around 30 years ago. And actually what it did was converted it back to more original than it ever was. So, it has the original metal fire escape set on it right now, and we'd like to recreate that same metal fire escape on the back there. And now it's brick and just metal fire escapes instead of the wood chases that we put on in the 90s. So I think I'm heading in the right direction with you guys anyhow.
Right.
Aren't the metal fire escapes costly?
Yeah, but it had a nice one on it, as he can contest to. So I was just like, you know, let's just, then while I'm alive, at least I won't have to deal with it. It'll still be good. So, you know.
Just curious.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it will look like it originally looked now. I built them chases back when we improved the bar in the 90s, and I just did it for, you know, separation reasons. And we had a lightning hit our electrical service out there and decided they weren't to be there no more. So.
And so then the treatment for the balusters, the railings, that is,
Metal. It's all metal. It's all it's just like old school metal fire escape. There'll be nothing else added to the back of the building.
Yeah, the existing metal fire escape, which was still there at the time of the fire, just suffered significant heat damage that it was no longer safe. It had to be replaced.
Quick question, how visible is the rear of this property from a major public right-of-way?
Minimally.
Yeah, it's hardly visible at all. Yeah.
I was gonna say, but that was my guess. And the work that was done along the roof, was that done after the fire?
You mean up where the where you can see where the metal's still a little messy up there at the top?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's got to be done yet. That'll be done then after we once we get back to work. As soon as I get my approvals from the city, we'll get back on it.
and are there going to be railings installed?
Yeah, the railings.
I was,
Yeah, you can see the drawings on one of the last pages here. You can see kind of the layout of what they've got.
yeah.
and the windows?
He's the same. They're going to be the same style as they were before, but obviously a little better constructed. But yep, same style.
What material will the windows be? What material?
You know,
Fibrix?
why am I drawing a blank on a regular plastic window?
You're not trying to say vinyl, are you?
Vinyl window, yeah. On the inside, it's wood, but then on the outside, we wanted to cover it with vinyl. If that's a problem, we can.
Vinyl clad.
Well, it looks just like the other windows, so I mean, from a look standpoint, you can't tell the difference.
So the windows that burned were like original, all wood?
All wood, original windows, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the back of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see it from anywhere.
So were they like 2x2s? 2 lights over 2 lights?
No, they were just big original one.
One over one.
Just one over one, just sash windows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the original steel doors will stay
Yeah.
because they're fire. They're rated for the fire escape.
Right.
What's under the blue tarp?
That's the roof to our patio bar and office area that's below there. And, you know, we have that on there because with all the work and the fire and all that. It's actually off now today. But
Perfect. Take
time
it
of
off
day
when
did
it's
it happen?
raining.
this happened at night. This happened like, what do you think, Stephen? Like 8, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah, it was like late evening.
The day before I was leaving for vacation. I'm serious. The day before I was leaving to go, that happened. But we were blessed. Nobody got hurt. Didn't get in the building and ravish the building or anything, you know. Fire department was there, a record-setting time. Put that sucker out real fast and worked real good. So, yep.
I'll make a motion, we accept this as submitted.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? No. Good luck with your project.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You as well.
Take it easy, Darren. It was Pandora's. It was the old Lincoln, or Lincoln Hotel.
It's the rear of the Lincoln in town.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, he has paid some service to the historic nature of the building. I think he's been trying.
Can't see it either way, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I think it is pretty well hidden.
Front of the building looks really, I think it looks really nice.
Is there anything else to come before the board tonight?
Murals.
No more cases. Are you here to discuss the murals? Wonderful. Okay.
Hi, my name's Corey Wolf. I was coming tonight more so to start a dialogue on murals and the things that I understand about the city and things I don't understand. I've sat on the planning commission for about 4 years, and there's so much I still don't understand. So when I think of any other board or commission, there's even more things that I don't understand. So I wanted to hopefully, if anyone's interested, to help me understand better about HARB and what that means when it comes to public art. I know that the basics of things you're not supposed to do, but we also have murals that have been installed downtown years and years back that are on my agenda to address since they are aging and they've reached the end of their lifespans and something needs to be done about it. Still learning a lot about that. The History Center is going to help me understand the history of that, but also a lot of murals that are being installed in the last few years. I've been a member of the Parliament Arts Organization who just installed about 30 murals in the last 5 years, and the Parliament will be dissolved. So caretaking of those is really important to me. And outside of all the HARB things, that is something that I'm working on personally to make sure is being addressed for the future. But I've found more than anything that artists typically don't want to know the business side of things. I'm not an artist, I'm a facilitator. I like to learn the business side of things to help artists learn all the hoops you may have to jump through for good reason. The murals that I have facilitated in the past 7 years or so, about four of them, all of which have been temporary on buildings that are going to be torn down or on the side of the Yorktown, which got replaced with something else because I know all that goes along with putting public art into the public and just the added layers that is important to maintaining the historical aspects of the city. And those are things that I know that many, many artists aren't thinking about. So if they see a wall and they're set on that wall, they need to understand every single step to go through on top of knowing if it's in the HARB district and what they could be doing or what they definitely cannot do. But I think there's plenty of opportunities for innovation to include public art on or somehow within these spaces, but doing it in a way that's not permanently altering those facades and things like that.
Who did you talk to at the History Center?
I have not gotten to sit down with Joan yet, but I have corresponded with her over email, and she's very interested to tell me the history of how they inherited, I believe it was a mural organizations that dissolved. Yeah.
I used to work there, and they were handed to us
Yep.
with us having no say about it.
Yeah, no, and this is I actually just did a lunch and learn with Mural Arts Philadelphia today to talk about what other places are doing. And Mural Arts Philadelphia oversees thousands in a huge city for public art, but they don't even have solutions to aging murals. And the solutions that, I mean, the very first time I did a temporary mural, people were shouting at me, well, what are you going to do about the ones falling down? And I wanted to say, well, that's not my problem, but I decided to make it my problem about 7 years ago, and now it's coming to fruition that I'm meeting with attorneys and meeting with other organizations to see what solutions they've found. No one's really found a right solution, but what I've suggested has been really helpful, and they think moving forward it could be something that could be used as an example. So more than just why I'm here this evening and learning pieces about our own city and our own HARB district, I'm all about trying to be mindful of the maintenance and care that needs to be placed on all public art throughout the city, throughout the county, when someone wants to put that into into existence. Yeah.
Can you explain to me what you mean by temporary murals?
So my.
Presumably permanent murals?
So, and talking with Mural Arts Philadelphia, they don't consider anything a permanent mural anymore because nothing's permanent. When I say temporary mural, when I facilitated the project at the big York, Greetings from York on the side of the Yorktown, all the time that it was under construction, we knew that that was going to be replaced with permanent material and we'd never see that mural again. We knew that it was only going to be there for like a year. It ended up being there like 2 years. But same goes for, I came before the RDA, I think maybe the very first Give Local, so maybe 5 years ago. There was a building across from the old Hess station at Queen and College. That building we knew was set for demolition. It was a blighted building that was going to be torn down, and we asked if we could put a mural on the side of that building and knew that it was going to get knocked down. We thought it was going to get knocked down within a year, took another couple years, but it was my thought behind it is I don't have any money to spend myself, so we publicly fundraise, and to think about the maintenance fees that go along with that, because if someone graffitis it, it's your responsibility to bring it back to where it was, or if it starts falling apart, you should make it look like it did the first day you put it up. So we made sure that anything that I facilitated would not last more than a year or two.
Okay. You've given a pretty good explanation of that. Now, let me dig a little bit deeper. You mentioned the cost involved. Why would you spend the money on a temporary mural? Is it just for artistic gratification?
Art for art's sake.
Art for art's sake is number one. When it came to blighted buildings, that is actually, there's case studies shown that when you put art on these blighted buildings, it starts a bigger conversation about, oh, well, it's going to get torn down. Why would they tear down that beautiful piece of art? Well, the building's blighted. What does that mean? Why did it get that way? So you start bigger conversations on addressing blight. And so that was one of the reasons. That was my very first project. But I got to start so many great conversations and had outraged people who were sad that the big white rose that said York was going to go away. But, well, it would be really nice if we never had to tear down that building to begin with, if people learned what goes into taking care of a building, things like that. Also, I mean, as someone who has been in the nonprofit world, doesn't have a ton of money to spend on these things, I find collaboration and partnership can make anything happen. And the artists that I've worked with have volunteered their time. So one, that eliminates their fee. It gets their name broadcasted out there and they get work. So that eliminates thousands of dollars paying an artist for a mural. But working with places like Resource York, where they donated the paint, our materials fee is gone. I don't get anything for facilitating it. So we can do a mural. That mural at Queen and College, even though it was the entire side of a building, I think it cost us maybe $400 total. And I put up my own money. And with the Yorktown Hotel, we did that because it was during COVID, and I wanted to see something bright and poppy that made people happy, and they could see it from afar, from their own doorstep. And so we had different entities that the lift that was on site that Kinsley was using, if we would have rented that for the entirety of the time that we needed that would have been itself like $8,000 because we needed it for an entire month. But that was given in kind. So collaboration makes these projects really cost effective, but it still sends a message. And everything that I try to do more so sends a message. We worked with the RDA 2 years ago and Give Local. I worked for Resource York. We put a mural that was painted by customers on a blighted building, and it was made out of doors and drawers that were drilled together and then painted on top of, and we just removed it. It was across from St. Mary's Church. But I mean, it was awareness on recycling. It was awareness of the blighted building. Didn't cost us a cent because it was all our materials and it was all volunteer work. But that's why I like to do temporary stuff. If I had all the money in the world, I'd be doing permanent murals. But I know that I don't have the right contract yet to be mindful of this is when this mural needs to be addressed, whether it is repainted, painted with a new mural, or painted back to what it was before we even got there. And that's what I hope a contract looks like, and will be more so a case-by-case basis with each property and each artist, and the images and the community, everything involved. But knowing every single factor of a community is the most important thing, and that's why I want to learn from HARB, like what I need to be mindful of when I'm educating different artists about what goes into doing it the right, correct, safe way.
Yeah, at a minimum, too, it is a tangible improvement to the streetscape. I used to live across from the old White Rose Motor Club AAA building, and that was the site of one of the projects that Corey facilitated.
And that's even more temporary than
Yeah, super temporary,
we're
just painted on,
changing that out, but,
glass. It was fantastic. So it meant to be a sort of a temporary thing. I am curious though, Corey, like what you're obviously concerned about the historic implications of certain placements of murals and whatnot. I guess I'm trying to figure out what your curiosity is, like for us. Like what questions, what sort of subject matter are you looking for? Like, I mean, can't cover up historic ornamentation. We know that. Like
knowing what interesting things have been done. I mean, I can think of gift horse is one example of like something that I see at the center of our downtown that's on a wall, but I don't know the specifics of like what. I just know basically if you can't really see it, if it's not by the public on the public roads, that's more allowed. But like, are there different ways that you guys have collaborated with artists already?
But that's kind of counterintuitive to
Exactly,
the whole
yeah.
mural thing. Is
And that's all I know generally
Yeah.
about HARB. So there's so much I just don't even know to begin with.
What we could explain is that for many years, the artist who was responsible for most of the art downtown on panels that reproduced pieces of books that have been maintained, the Lewis Miller books. She had been on the board for many, many years, and as an artist, she had lots of very firm beliefs in what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And there have been a handful of times when we have had to take specific recommendations regarding changes to murals more than installations of murals. And it's been a less common thing that we deal with because of the fact that it's paint, and paint is generally not regulated. However, changes, modifications to a facade are, and so there's it's a little bit of a gray area for us in our authority. But I think that, like everything else, we tend to look at them on a case-by-case basis. It's difficult to do any kind of broad authorization because that's why we exist. We're here to try to protect the integrity and safeguard the heritage and the architectural splendor that is the city of York's historic district, which is a big district. And I don't know how to say it any other way. I think we'll be interested in seeing what's proposed, when it's proposed, how it's proposed, what materials are to be used, and what plan to safeguard it. I think the oldest murals in the downtown, I hope someone has a plan to continue to maintain and restore them, because I think they are serious works, and I know that there are people out there that do that whose business is restoration of murals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there is any plan for the murals that are already there.
They're to fade away.
Yes, and that's what Joan explained was the plan.
And if the owner of the building isn't satisfied with that, we can come out at our expense and paint over it.
Yeah, and those expenses are high for as many murals as there are that are fading away that more so don't look as appealing as the ghost signs of like advertising that like we're all kind of used to, but instead like a piece of art that doesn't necessarily look as nice when it's fading away.
It looks like it's worn out.
Exactly. And I mean, like you said, it's a case-by-case basis for everything. And I mean, I don't even necessarily look to be installing anything in the HARB district anytime soon, but I just want to open the dialogue that if anyone is interested in working with me just to, in spare time, learn about what I need to know so I can properly educate artists who have questions or want to do that and say, well, you're going to need to talk to these people and these are the general things. If you have specific questions, you can go to them, but it is a piece of understanding the requirements for good reason.
Yeah, and I think my biggest concern for murals in the historic district is going to be what you're talking about, a plan to perpetuate them, to make sure that they are maintained over the years, because a faded, ugly old mural doesn't look historic. It doesn't do anything for the area surrounding it. And I think that's where they missed the mark when everybody had the great idea, well, let's put murals up, they're beautiful. And when they put them up, they were beautiful. Within, 5, 10 years, 15 years, they were starting to look a lot less beautiful. And if we're doing that on a historic building, I think it's going to be critical in my mind that there's a plan going forward to make sure that it is maintained.
Definitely.
Well, and in terms of any new murals that would be put up, you're effectively in the same position as anybody else would be who's modifying a facade and wants to put plans in front of us to take a look at. It might involve a little bit more of a stringent level of documentation in terms of like size of the area of stucco that's being applied or something like that. Maybe beyond what the artists would be used to, or maybe what you guys, whoever you're working with, would be used to. But it's that level of like photography or diagrams or documentation that we'll just need to see. And then, maybe a proposal for what the mural would look like. But again, we don't regulate, taste in murals or
Yeah.
colors of paint or anything like that.
And I know that just in like my bare minimal education in HARB, like just the idea of like drilling into a wall that's historic versus painting it versus this, because there are certain places that they put panels up that murals are put on and then taken off and switched out, kind of like they did on the Yorktown where they put over top the Rotary mural. And so like learning about what can be done that is not painting directly on a facade but is still a modification, all of these little intricate things that people are innovating, I mean, around the art world is something that I want to learn more about that parallels what you all do here. But yeah, it is very case by case. I'm just trying to expand my education because I joined the board of the parliament to start these conversations and they didn't really want to hear them, and now they're not here, so we need more public art advocates. I'm working closely with Cultural Alliance as they keep pushing forward for more assistance and resources for the entire county when it comes to public art. But I'm going to be right alongside them, going to Philadelphia and talking to people from LA. There's a big organization out there that's been helpful, and just trying to absorb as much as possible to do it the right way, because I would hate to see artists get put down because they didn't follow the rules and didn't understand why the rules are there in the first place. I mean, same thing with Planning Commission and people wanting to make changes and all that stuff. It's important to know why we have the rules.
Yeah, the very fact that you've got all these options and you've got new products, new processes coming on board makes it very difficult for us to predict what the next thing coming down the road will be. So I'm going to echo what these people have said about it case by case. Somebody's going to have to come before us and say, this is what we're going to do, this is the type of materials we're using, these are the modifications we're going to make to the building, and then we can judge based on that.
Then one of us might say, how are you fastening this to the brick?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I expect that I'll be with someone to help them along the way before you in the future.
You know the one that's on the Bell Services building
Yes,
next
the
to
York
the
plan.
McDonald's?
Mhm.
I dug up the artist
Mhm.
and talked to him, and it was like, his whole crew live for free at the Yorktown because of Mr. Appel's, and all the scaffolding and cherry pickers, that was all free. And so it's like, well, I guess we're not gonna be having you repair this, because none of that'll be free.
Yeah, I've been starting conversations with the artists, the market scene one that's right across from White Rose, where my girlfriend's wardrobe is. I've been talking to, I believe she's local. She's right down on George Street.
Yeah, she's repaired that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just discussion of, well, did you have a discussion about the future when you first signed this contract? Was there any verbiage there? There wasn't. But the mosaic on the Central Market parking garage is, I mean, starting to become a hazard because it's sharp. And so,
She came to us for that.
yeah. So I mean, there's so many instances. One of my favorite murals is the one on the Market Street parking garage of the York Fair scenes. But
Oh, that's awful. You can't even see
I
that
can't
anymore,
see
really.
what it really. I can tell it's the York Fair because
Yeah.
I've been here for 10 years, so I've seen it at that beginning point. But I would love to be able to do it justice because I don't think any artist would necessarily want to see their work in a certain state like that, even if they didn't understand it and did agree to it at that time. So I'm just trying to be mindful of artists, the property owners, the city, everyone at the same time, so we can have more art done in the right way, so we don't, I mean, run into errors and issues where it kind of stunts that progress forward.
There was a mural that got installed on, I think it's Mason, right next door to the soap place in the alleyway,
Bless you.
right there. Did they come in front of HARB when that was being
That
installed?
was a Louis Miller one.
Yeah.
Wait,
No, it was
no,
like,
the Ophelia one.
yes, yeah.
She also put one on Penn Market, so I'm trying to start conversations with her and about her process of either getting approval or not, because it's really important to do it the right way.
Yeah, I saw that press release and all the photos and stuff. I didn't think
I
they,
don't think they came to HARB.
that's definitely in HARB.
No, and also, I mean, I've met with Pennsylvania Downtown Center, who kind of advise the Main Street programs in Pennsylvania. And there's an engineer who became a volunteer and now a staff member for PDC. And just looking at certain styles of murals, she says that's actually not good for the brick. I mean, doing it somewhere else and then sealing it. So for me, it's like, well, we're already making mistakes. I mean, those same types of murals pop up on the parking garages, yet there's no agreement to allow that. But then any other artist who comes around might not be able to do the same thing. So I just want consistency and understanding that you can harm a building more doing it a certain way if you don't try to be educated on that. So it's just the big thing that, I mean, we need as many advocates as possible for that because public art is real flashy right now, especially with Royal Square being the way that it is, but we have less advocates than ever with the Parliament sunsetting, unfortunately.
Well, I hope we've been a little help to you.
You've been a lot of help, and I hope someone reaches out to me and wants to talk about it further because I'm happy to talk outside of here. I don't want to use your time in that kind of way to ask specific questions, but hopefully future meetings outside.
I mean, you can email probably any one of us and always send a message on Instagram or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. Good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening.
Okay, I think if we have no other business, we stand adjourned.